Oh,
Oh my God.
There's
Officer down, officer down.
There's a gang war going on here. A little bit of shooting on here.
I got a 187 in a gangbang situation.
Ah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
You are being very, very naughty.
Naughty this! Garbage Day!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are just another movie night, and I am Scott.
I'm Joe.
She is Joe.
I'm extra Joe today.
She's my partner, my lover, my muse, my sweetheart,
Aw.
the love of my life.
Aw.
And sometimes I just want to kiss her to death, and sometimes
He wants to beat me.
I don't. No one call the cops. I'm sorry.
Please don't call the cops.
What is it? What is that guy?
We got a 187 over here. What's domestic violence?
Oh, yeah, what's domestic violence?
We got a.
We got a domestic dispute over here.
Yeah.
We got two crazy podcasters freaking out over here.
An 815 on a bad movie.
Okay, so look, guys, we were originally going to just do an episode with some movie reviews in it, and one of those movies we were going to catch up and do a whole bunch of different movies that we were catching up on because there's so many movies out there right now, and we're really behind. And we were like, let's do a whole bunch. And so we're like, well, get and check out a couple movies this weekend. Well, about 5-10 minutes into this movie, we were laughing. And we could not believe how shitty this movie was. And of course, that brings us to where we are right now, which is talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash indeed, because tonight we are talking about John Woo's return to America with another piece of garbage called Silent Night, just in time for the holidays.
I just still can't believe what I watched.
This one was mind-blowing. It is such a mess. You know, we were talking about the perfect bad movie. Like, when people always ask us, like, what do you guys think a bad movie is? Like, you're really into it. Why do you watch bad movies on purpose and all that? Like, I don't think anybody ever goes in purposely looking to watch a bad movie. I think you always kind of, well, at least us. I think we kind of hope to be surprised. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes it really fails. And so I went in this one thinking, okay, John Woo's back. They're going to do something interesting. You know, I've seen a lot of John Woo stuff, and I know he's got a lot of these tropes and these problems. But I thought he does do action well. To a fault. And I thought, well, this is a concept movie. This is going to be a movie without much dialogue. This could be really interesting. And then I really quick into this film, I realized we were in for trouble.
Wait, when did you realize it? When?
Exactly? Okay, there was a moment. Okay, this is talking trash. I just want to point this out before I get into it too far. I just want to say, we're going to spoil this movie, and I think we can tell you this. I think I can speak for both of us when I say you need to see this thing to believe it, but I also will caution you really shouldn't see it. But if that question happens where you're thinking to yourself, what is a bad movie? What is bad? This movie has it in spades. All problems in film, you can find it in this movie. So, since this is talking trash, we're going to spoil the movie. We're going to talk about it. And this is one of those rare times where I can't even edit into this movie. Into our episode to put jokes in. Because there is no dialogue in this film.
Yeah, when they say Silent Night, they really mean Silent Night.
There's a lot of sound effects. They can't fully produce that promise of no dialogue because there are some words. I think you can hear the wife in one moment speak. He uses the device on his throat. He says like one word. There's a couple moments here.
Sporadic, here and there dialogue
Yeah.
coming off like a two-way radio, police radio.
Yeah, which we were talking about, which we were joking around in the opening. Yeah, there's just like there's some stuff like that sneaking by, but the moment I knew we were in for a fucking shit show was when a parrot flew onto a windowsill.
Really?
That was the moment.
Wow. Okay. Huh.
And the reason I say that is if anybody knows John Woo. Now, I guess I should say that who John Woo is, the director. He was a very big Asian director who had made 2 classics, Hard Boiled and The Killers. And that success made him come over to America. Unfortunately, his arrival in America was a debacle after debacle. The first one is the Van Damme movie, Hard Target. Then he followed that one up with Broken Arrow with Christian Slater and John Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made probably his biggest and most loved American film, which is Face Off.
Face Off, yeah.
Now, take it or leave it how you feel on that movie. I think that it is a so bad it's good movie that's almost like in the good territory because it's so cheesy and so ridiculous and so insane. And it's got Nicolas Cage going apeshit again.
Which we love.
And so you kind of like, I think people just really enjoy it. It also came out in a time where a lot of kids, it hit for them and they grew up loving it regardless of how bad it is.
Yeah.
Well, I bring all this up because, and pretty much after Face Off, he did Mission Impossible 2, which is the worst one.
He did Paycheck also.
Yes, he did Paycheck. Yeah, it's terrible. Pretty much ends his career in America. He goes back overseas. He starts filming more movies over there. This is his first return to America's cinema. And now, the reason I wanted to bring all this up was that John Woo has his tropes. And one of those bad ones is he loves doves. He puts doves in all of his movies. Doves in every shot. It's some kind of thing that means something to him. It's so important to him to have doves shooting out of certain shots. Well, I thought he's got to know now not to do that shit anymore.
Yeah, well, this time he used a black and blue bird.
It wasn't a parrot.
It wasn't a dove. It wasn't a parrot.
It looked like a parrot. That's the only reason I said it.
No, it's one of those birds that's native to like Phoenix, Arizona. But yeah, I think it's a lovebird actually. But yeah, it was not a dove. So, but
regardless, the reason I say it was because a bird showed up, and I was like, "You got to be kidding."
Well, that's not the moment where I thought this is going to be a complete shit show.
It was further in.
Yeah.
Oh, because
I started feeling the pain, probably at like the.
Oh, I wasn't saying the pain, just the first sign of something to come.
Okay, yeah.
Because I said, it's not a dove. He didn't have a dove fly on the window and stare at him. It's symbolic. No shit, right? Instead, he was like you said, I look like a parrot, and I thought that was a symbolic meaning of how he can't talk. Because the main character in this movie, we find out, was shot in the throat after his son was killed in a gang
in a drive-by, but it wasn't like they were shooting at each other from their cars. It was comical and ridiculous, but the poor little kid got hit. And so Joel Kinnaman, he's a main star, he lost his son in this, and the grief was just too much. So we see him in the opening chasing down the bad guys and, running after them and stuff. And he gets shot by this. Okay.
Multiple times.
But this guy, okay, so he's the leader of a gang. His face can only be described as like he let his children color on his head. Like draw on his head. Like he had the
I hope it's
most
not real.
ridiculous tattoos I have ever seen in my life. And I know that, you know, people like their own things and they have tattoos for whatever meaning that means something to them. And I get it. Okay, fine. But holy shit, this guy's fucking face. No, he does not have those tattoos for real.
Good.
He looks like a regular dude, but wow. Right off the bat, I was like, oh, Jesus, this is going to be our bad guy. Like this is a clear revenge flick. Guy's son was killed in a gang war. And so now he got shot in the throat. He cannot speak. So hence the movie is pretty much just no talking and there's no dialogue really. Not on his part anyway, because he can't speak anymore. But he's got a wife, and she's also grieving the loss of their son, which was on Christmas Eve, or I want to say, or Christmas Day, where this happened.
When the kid gets killed? It seems like it's Christmas Day, but I cannot be sure.
Yeah, I think it's Christmas Day. It's 2021 Christmas Day. And so we...
In what seems to be L.A.?
Okay, I just have a question. This family literally lives in Gang City. I don't understand.
There's a shot of his neighborhood where it looks like trash was dumped into the street.
Yeah.
And I could not tell what was happening.
It just seems like one street over is like Gang City. What? Okay, hold on.
In the opening of this film, he's running after these two cars, right? And it's insane, first off, that he knows exactly how to get there through back alleys. But every time he jumps over a wall of some sort or over into a ditch, he ends up in shanty towns, like just homelessville. But he seems shocked every time he does it.
Yeah, like where do you think you're running to? And first of all, what was his game plan? So your kid is literally lying in the grass in your front yard. So you take off running in your Christmas sweater down the street after these gangs who, mind you, all have machine guns and they're freaking armed and dangerous. And you're running after them. I don't understand what his game plan was. So, whatever.
Yeah, but we cannot bury what's insane right off the bat in this movie. What's insane, besides him running in a Christmas sweater in LA weather.
Yes.
Which is really weird.
Yes.
And also that he seems to know how to find them and cut them off by running. Mm-hmm. But he also seems shocked about his neighborhood being shit. It's weird. But what's really amazing is the gun battle that's happening in this movie. No cops are anywhere near here. This is a funny ass thing with movies. In this movie, cops don't exist.
I mean, I know that, you know, okay, here's the thing. I think I realized something. It is not LA that is being filmed in. It is actually Austin, Texas. Because they say San Paloma Police Department. And
wow, okay. Yeah. I mean, I could swear it was LA the whole time. But all right. How could you tell? It looks like LA, but it's that famous street where nobody's ever out.
I know.
That's the whole movie is like that. It's very unpopulated. It feels like a set. This movie has so many bad problems, but this gun battle that is happening in the streets of the city, is going. These two cars are shooting machine guns at each other. With two people are hanging outside the window. It's going on for city blocks. Mm-hmm. Round and round, they're shooting at each other. Not particularly hitting each other, just randomly shooting. Sometimes you'll see a person get hit, and then that person seems to just go back into the car and come back out. Yeah,
they're like literally on top of each other, but they're not. None of their bullets are hitting. They're spraying each other with freaking machine guns. It's like that scene
in whack-a-mole.
It's like that scene in Naked Gun when Frank Drebin is like
right behind the trash can,
right next to the guy behind the trash can.
And that's
it's
this
like,
movie.
Pew 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 pew.
Oh my god! And he throws the gun at him and hits him.
He throws the gun.
It's like whack-a-mole. People just keep popping up to shoot, and they're that comical gangster. Mm-hmm. That Spanish gangster where he's got like the bandana and sunglasses and a white wife beater.
Yeah, they're like
That's it.
Los Locos.
Machine gun.
Yeah, they're like Los Locos in a Johnny Five movie.
This is absurd. And then somehow he manages to catch up to them.
It's a miracle, yeah. But
His plan is so stupid. He ends up taking a bar. Now, first off, he swings behind the side of a building while the car is coming up to the corner. He swings like a pipe at the window of the windshield. I feel like that thing would have sprung back and hit him.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The fact that he's able to do that. Now, what's even more absurd is it makes him kind of like almost crash, but they're able to just drive after him, and he just runs down an alleyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was his plan.
I don't understand what that whole plan was. It was stupid. But
and they can't hit him with machine guns outside of a window again.
No. So, the main guy, he gets out of the car.
He
and
makes him crash. It was one of the cooler things.
Yeah, the crash is cool. Now, I'm going to say something about this movie. The fight scenes were...
Two of them. Maybe I'm going to say
pretty interesting.
One fight scene.
Oh, I mean, it was... there was a couple that I was like, ow, that looked like it hurt for real. But
there's one that really impressed me. And then this movie, that's why I'm so mad. Like, you were about to say it. Let's just finish that real fast. He makes them crash into a forklift, and a guy's head gets knocked right off. But the driver is able to survive it, and then get out of his car and just shoot the main character once in the back, make him fall, and then he shoots him in the throat.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody uses headshots in this movie, especially if you're like a gang member, you would go for the head. But whatever, that's not what happens here. So guy ends up in the hospital. We fast forward to his wife running. Oh my God, he was shot.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. This is where the directing is so fucking bad. They keep doing this thing where they zoom into her eyes.
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
They almost pause on her eyes multiple times. These jarring zoom shots that linger like a photograph.
I feel like I was in a Bava movie.
It's weird. It's so weird and very cheap. And this movie has that a lot. There's a lot of shots that are unfocused. Terrible edits. There's an edit in we'll get to it, but just very badly done. The hospital that he's in is even comical. It's like a white room, like it's an insane asylum.
It really looks like some kind of experimental lab. It doesn't look like a hospital. It's really weird.
Every shot in this movie feels very fake, very cheap, and very just really strange. Like something always feels off with every scene.
Yeah, it really does. Like the whole movie is just, I don't know why they picked this actor, first of all, because he doesn't give vibes of like that he should be in a movie like this. It's weird.
I actually disagree.
I think that's why they picked him, because he doesn't come off as like, it's like that movie Nobody. Mm-hmm. Like he's unassuming. He's just Bob Odenkirk. He's like completely unassuming. So
yeah, that's what it makes work. Yeah.
Why they picked this guy, but like I don't know. He tries to do a lot of acting with his face, but sometimes it comes off really, really like
and that's
goofy.
I have to say that's where I think it comes down to the director, because I actually think this guy is decent. Mm-hmm. I think he's a good actor. He was great on House of Cards. We've seen him in things. He manages to make his stuff in Suicide Squad, both Suicide Squad movies. Well, he makes them good.
Yeah, he's
even when it's trash writing,
right? It's
Rick Flag.
Yeah,
he's good. But in this movie, some of the shots on him are embarrassing.
Oh, I will. That's what I'm trying to say. Like he just came off as really goofy. Like he was acting with his eyes at one point.
Oh, it's bad.
And he was going cross-eyed, and I'm like, okay, come on, dial it back a bit, because you look insane. And I know you're supposed to be insane because, he lost his kid and he wants to exact revenge on these, freaking Los Locos or whatever. And he's insane. But like he goes to like the 900th degree with his acting and his face. And I know it's hard because he cannot speak. So he has to act with his face.
Yeah.
But he's just not bringing it home for me.
No,
he looks like a psycho.
Okay, so I brought up that he's in the hospital. He survives, of course. Somehow he survives a throat wound. He only loses his voice. His voice box is damaged. His wife is in the hospital after losing a child. Now has to deal with this idiot.
Yep.
So she's covered in blood and waiting on him. And of course, when he wakes up, he's not helpful to her at all. In fact, even when she hands him a new voice box modulator type thing, he freaks out and throws it, and he's just lunatic level. Mm-hmm. And this poor woman throughout this movie, you feel terrible for.
Yeah, it's Christmas. She lost her son.
Yes, and her
then
husband.
Her husband, runs out and gets shot. This is like the worst day of this woman's entire life.
And she's the strongest one in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And she's not even in it. She's in it to have shots of her eyes crying constantly. Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing.
It's bad.
So this is the moment, though, where the bird lands on outside the window and he stares at it. Now, I thought it was a parrot only because I thought it was like this metaphor for him not being able to talk, and the bird can talk.
No, I get why you thought that, but no, it was definitely a lovebird.
Why then? Like, so it's just love?
It
love?
It was a lovebird, yeah. I read it.
It's just like, yeah, but like, that's the point? That's why we have this shot?
I mean, I guess.
And then you think, because this bird shows up, that you do the normal thing where you set up and pay off? This movie is like, fuck that. We're not going to do any of that in this movie. We're not going to set up and pay off at all. They're not going to bring this bird back once.
Yeah, no, they don't bring that back at all. It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nothing.
But the worst thing about this is that he starts sinking, worse and worse in his insanity. And
which means full bottles of vodka are being guzzled.
I mean, full bottles. And so the only way he can really communicate with his wife is via text message. So you see that they're slowly just slipping away from each other. He's gone mental. He wants to exact revenge on these, gangbangers. And he starts building himself. Like, he starts, getting all muscles and working out and learning how he can, learning self-defense. And he's practicing with a dummy and all this stuff, like to beat up. And I mean, it's just the montages are so extra.
And that's the thing. It's not a montage.
It's not a montage.
It should have been a montage.
But there are several scenes in the movie that show him, lifting weights and it's so stupid.
The gravity of what's happening in this movie. That's why we got to talk about this. Why we're doing Talking Trash. The gravity of what they do show in the movie is so fucking crazy. We watch at least 40 minutes of montage.
Yeah.
There's a level of... Now, one half of me was like, oh, I've never seen this in a movie where they're actually going to show you the guy getting good. Mm-hmm. Right? And you think that maybe he's going to get good and he's going to go out on night patrols and try to learn. Instead, no. He's going to learn how to drive a car. He's going to learn how to pimp out his car to deal with warfare. He's going to take gun lessons. He's going to take fighting lessons. He's going to take all these things. He's going to train his body. And we have to watch all of it. If that sounds exciting to you, if you think 45 minutes of watching a guy scream and hate his wife, then build up his body to go on a fight, and also
he can't even scream. Yeah,
no, you know what I mean. His face screaming. He's doing face screaming.
He's just so out of his mind.
Yeah, but then also on top of that, the most fucking corny kid stuff.
Oh my god, I've never seen anything like this.
It's so friggin'
shove
forced.
It down your throat so bad. It's like, okay, we understand because we saw the scene where his little boy gets shot. Okay, we saw it. So why do you have to keep putting his face in Christmas ornaments and in the cloud and he's having dreams about his kid.
But these
and
scenes with his kid.
It's so extra.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
oh my God. Like, I mean, he sees him in like, in reflections and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, we get why you're doing this, dude. You don't need to keep showing us this.
It only works if he's starting to lose his mission. If things are making him sway away from the revenge, and then he sees him again, and then he remembers.
Right.
Maybe this movie just wants you to constantly see it, and almost not like our main character. Like, we get a scene of a music. There's like 14 layers of this child being in his life and in the movie, right? We have a train set. We have him sleeping in his bed, having thoughts about him seeing him and random other kids, also a music box. Mm-hmm. And all of those things get at least 10 minutes each.
See, here's the thing. I that is like so shoved down your throat. But the thing that bothers me is not even so much that. What bothers me is the pure, like, illogical factor of this guy's whole life. Okay, so you are living with your wife and son in like Gangland, USA.
Yes.
That's literally the next street over.
Yeah.
And you can afford to go down a back alley and buy a Mustang, used Mustang.
Yeah, I feel like every element here that you're about to talk about, it feels like it needs its own section of talking about. Because just this car alone, I'm baffled by.
He buys this from some,
what is it?
Random kid down a back alley or something.
Is it stolen? Is it
probably?
Is it special? Because it's the Batmobile.
It's a Mustang. Yes, it's a Mustang. And he buys this car and he gives the kid a wad of cash. So it's like, oh, okay. So you have all this money from your job working at the cable company or wherever
He's
he
an
works.
electrician.
Okay. So you have all this money to just outright buy this car cash, but you can't move your family out of Gangland, USA?
Yeah, he doesn't even have his own car.
No, he shares a car with his wife.
And his buddy drives him home.
So you're telling me that you have all this money. Now this comes in again, this money factor, because his wife takes off and fucking leaves him because of all this, he's constantly obsessed with revenge. So she leaves him. Now, who the fuck is paying the bills on this house? This woman is gone. She seems to be the only one that's working. He hasn't worked one single day since his accident. So who's paying the bills in this house, first of all?
Yeah.
But he buys a bag full of fucking guns.
Yeah, we got to talk about she's taking care of him while he's in the hospital. Now, we got to guess that he's in physical therapy and in the hospital for a very long time.
Yes.
When he finally gets home, the Christmas tree is still up.
Yep.
And I was like, this woman has to go home every night. She's going home. Mm-hmm. And she's staring at that day that sucks for the rest of her life. And she never got to the point where she took any of it down. Although in the movie, while our main character, Joel Kinnaman, right, mm-hmm. he can't get over it, she seems to get over it, but not remove any of that stuff.
I know.
You think the first thing you would do is throw that goddamn Christmas tree out, get rid of those Christmas presents.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for real.
I cannot believe that shit.
I just don't understand why.
But yes, the money. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, she leaves him and who's paying these bills? That's number one. And then he buys a bag full of fucking guns with a wad of cash. A wad. And it must have been thousands of dollars. Now, I'm just curious, okay? If you live in a situation where gangs are driving by your home, shooting machine guns out their car windows, maybe you might want to move.
Yeah.
Maybe you put your house on the market and take that money that you're spending to buy a car and guns and move your family out of there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So, beyond that, he's not only paying for the guns, he's paying for military equipment. He has like a military knife. He has body armor. Mm-hmm. So much body armor that he's able to strip the inside of his car, this new Mustang, and load the walls with body armor.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that's interesting. But the glass is not breakable in this car.
Like, you can't break the glass.
Throughout this movie, he's getting shot at, and the glass never breaks.
Maybe he paid for, like, you know,
if he
special
got
glass.
Bulletproof glass in this thing, how do you even do that?
Like, this fucking dill hole. Like, how do you have all the money to, you know, to spruce up this car and jack it up with all this, like, you know, all these upgrades and shit, and you literally live in a shithole town, and your family, you just lost your son. Like, honestly, how do you have all this money to do this? I don't understand. And his wife leaves him, and he doesn't even give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit, and it is also jarring because they never talk. They only talk through text messages, and he's drunk in the garage. Mm-hmm. And then the next scene, she's just laying on his lap, and then it was like, "Oh wait, what's going on?" They finally made up, and then they're like, "No, I'm leaving you now."
Yeah, so
what?
she was like they were having a tender moment, and so we're like, okay, so she's walking towards the bedroom, and I thought they were gonna go and, like, you know, have
Which
sex
is what
or
they
something.
wanted us to think, I guess.
No, she grabs her fucking suitcase and leaves. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening in this movie, but, you know, if let me tell you something. If I was in a situation like this, and I knew that you were gonna go ape shit and start, you know, trying to kill gang members or whatever, I would definitely go to the police because I'd be scared for you. And this woman,
I don't know if she ever notices that because she never looks into his life at all. She refuses to go near him. She's letting him. Why do you keep stocking the kitchen with alcohol for him to drink? Because every time in this movie, he keeps reaching into the refrigerator and pulling out a bottle of Sky vodka. Like, it's not even Sky vodka, but it is a vodka bottle that he drinks like water.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And then they show a scene where he's just got like 15 bottles. Who's giving him this alcohol? She's got to be doing it, and she's not going in that garage. She's not seeing his brand new car that he's stripping. What is happening? And what's really funny is one day he just wakes up and goes, "You know what? I think that my son would want me to kill everybody."
Yep.
Well, of course, there's no dialogue, so you don't really get that, but that's what you're assuming that he's thinking.
Well, you go to the he goes to the police station, like, you think
he finds
he's
his card. This cop gave him a card. He put it on his table, although they never met.
Right.
He put a detective card on his table, so when he gets out of his trance of being drunk, he decides to look at the card and go see this guy, this detective. And he goes to this guy's. This is great too. Since there's no dialogue, they have to cut through him talking to the front person and telling them that he wants to meet with this guy, this detective. So instead of showing that scene, he's just randomly sitting in his office waiting for him. And that's crazy because in back of him is an entire billboard of all the crime people that he's after. It's
like the most wanted, the police most wanted.
Well, it's his office, and he's doing the gang violence stuff. So it's almost like a connection board, who knows who type of thing.
Yeah, and so our main character takes pictures of this board because those are the guys that he wants to kill.
Yeah, but why? Who would put him in this room with actual information?
Right. First of all, you don't meet in rooms like that.
Yeah.
That's just insane, first of all. So he's taking photographs of all these people, and especially he sees Tattoo Head, and he's like, that motherfucker is the one who shot me. So I got to do this. So he leaves there. He leaves the police station without even seeing the cop, which is played by Kid Cudi. Is that how you say his name? Kid Cudi?
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's Kid Cudi, I think that's how you say it. And so, you know, the cop comes out of his whatever room he's in, and he sees him and getting in the elevator, and he's like, wait, I didn't even have a chance to talk to him. And he's like staring at him like he looks like he did something, you know?
Yeah.
And nothing ever materializes out of that. But I was like wondering at this point, I'm like, okay, he's been training, he's been shooting, he's been learning, when the hell are we going to get the freaking payback? When are we going to get the carnage?
When are we going to get carnage? And
it was an hour and 15 minutes in before we even got anyone to get beat up. It was ridiculous.
What really pisses me off is that he doesn't go out and learn. There's no like trial by error type of thing. Not him learning. This movie thinks it's the Punisher or it's Daredevil or it's some kind of other like thing like those things. even like in the action, it kind of thinks it's something special, like John Wick at certain times.
Yes.
It thinks it's all these things, but it can't even get close to any of those things. None of the action or things that actually come are never worthy of what weight we've had. And it doesn't end with him and his son. Like, it just keeps happening. There's a scene where he goes to his grave. It's like, it doesn't end. But he finally goes and does something. And the first thing he does is by the way, we got to point this out too. He just goes on a building. He knows exactly where these guys all are. And they're all with their windows wide open, not only shuffling through money, not only doing drugs and almost having sex, but also loading up machine guns.
It is the most comical thing I have ever seen. Like any bad guy moment you can possibly have in a movie, there are 5 different floors in this building happening of that. One sniffing, cocaine or whatever,
Yeah.
and the other one is counting huge piles, like comically huge piles of cash. Then one's trying to bang his girlfriend. Then the other one is loading guns. It's like
A wall full of guns.
It's ridiculous.
I kept thinking to myself, how are these gangsters, how have they not been overthrown yet? Or how have the cops not caught them when they're doing everything right here in the open? And this idiot, an electrician, all he did was go buy a super expensive camera.
Okay, so let's just add that to
super
the
$1,000 camera.
Yeah,
To
$1,000.
Huge. I think the lens itself is
huge
$1,000.
Lens. That camera is no less than $5,000. Okay, and so that's another thing that he fucking purchased when he could have been moving his goddamn family out of the goddamn neighborhood.
The fact that he is now also really good at finding criminals and also photography.
Oh, he's excellent.
He can actually take photos with one
Wow.
eye open.
Yes, and he can zoom in really well and get like every single square pore and every single inch of these people's faces. But not to mention the car as it's about to drive away, the entire tag number and everything.
Yes, yeah. He has both eyes open for dramatic effect, I think. You have one eye down the lens and the other eye is just wide open looking at us like pissed off.
It's just so ridiculous. So we're okay, just can we just also talk about the freaking timeline right now? He has been waiting and learning and practicing and doing research for a year.
Yeah, it's been a year catching up to the anniversary of his son's death.
So that's 1 year that he has been like lurking, stalking, researching, and planning this attack for his revenge for 1 year.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even be a full year because he was an alcoholic and in the hospital for at least 4 months.
Okay, so let's say it's 6 months. Okay,
Just say it took him 6 months of doing what he was doing to get ready for this couple of nights.
In 6 months, he did not go to work once.
No.
He lost his wife.
Yeah.
He's in a training montage. He learned how to fight. He learned how to shoot.
He was an alcoholic, then he kicked the alcoholism.
Yes, he got a 6-pack. He
gets a 6-pack.
He purchased an array of expensive items, such as a car, a camera with like a big like telescopic lens,
training dummies,
knives, guns, and all that in that amount of time. And
this movie's so bad.
He could literally go and kill the freaking
it's the best
gang members. And he
God.
starts with this random gang member. He's the one counting the money.
Because he seems to be the guy that handles the money.
He's
so
the
he decides
accountant.
that he's the guy.
Yeah.
He goes into this guy's house and you think this is going to be a big thing. Because you think he's going to have guards with him or girls in the house or something's going to happen. No, he knocks this guy out instantly.
Yeah.
And is able to tie him up in his garage.
Here's another thing that's just amazing about this. Now, they are... Okay. Their lair is in like a body and paint building, like a warehouse.
Oh, the main... Oh, the
yeah,
bad
where
guys.
they keep their, their stash of, criminal things. But this guy lives in a freaking estate compound.
Yes.
Okay? And he is... I'm talking... perfection, this house. It's beautiful. It's got like glass everywhere. It's beautiful. This guy, and he doesn't have one goon protecting his ass.
Nothing. And
It's
he's
just
the
easy.
big guy.
Yeah, you just walk right into his house and take him out. Boom.
But
It's just unbelievable.
now this is actually my favorite part in the whole movie. The only thing that I think is worth a damn in the film is he brings him, he ties him up in his garage, and he tortures him, and he wants him. He doesn't even torture him. He's just kind of messing with him. He has him like hogtied, but he wants him to fill out forms. He has questionnaires that he wants this guy to fill out. And his idea of how to threaten him, he wears a welding mask to headbutt him. And he sticks his knife into the thing to scare him and leaves it in the desk, which openly lets this guy use it to cut his ropes and fight back.
They didn't teach you anything in that self-defense video of maybe the criminal getting out of the situation.
So here's what I kind of like. I kind of like I like some things about this movie. That's why I'm so mad, because I love seeing you never see movies where the person has to train to be a badass. Right?
I mean, rarely, yeah.
It does go on way too long. I cannot believe they did it as long as they did it. That could have easily been a 5-minute montage with the calendar flying by or something. And then also, I like that he is learning and he's getting hurt. Now, one of the reasons I love Daredevil and the show from the Netflix and the Disney Plus shows, the Daredevil show and the Punisher show, is you see them fail. You see them get hurt.
Yeah.
They're fucked up when they're fighting people. And I like when movies are able to do that, showing you that there's a downside. Like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I'm not perfect. I'm still a human being.
Right.
So I kind of love him. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he hasn't ever killed anybody before. He hasn't done these things that he's trying to do. That's why you kind of need scenes to set up slowly him becoming a badass. Instead, they just do this one scene. And it all goes so wrong. And I kind of love that, to show that it's going wrong and he's got to fail and he's got to learn. So this fight scene is the best in the movie. This is my favorite part in the movie. It's really well done. The stunt guy is excellent. They have a fight in his house, and it goes on for a while, and it's crazy. The guy, at all costs, this guy fights back. So he's like hitting him with the laundry door.
I mean, he's really fighting back, and
it's great.
I mean, ultimately he gets taken down, but he doesn't get killed. What happens is Joel Kinnaman actually hogties him and throws him on the cop's doorstep. The cop that that left him the card he was supposed to go talk to, he threw him on his doorstep with a note.
With a Christmas card
that
says, I'm going to do what you should have done a long time ago. Oh, and by the way, here's a hard drive. And then he tells him his entire plan.
Yep.
In the hard drive, which we just watched this guy looking at pictures with arrows all over them. And it is so baffling. And all I kept thinking was, he just told this guy where I'm going to be in the next few minutes every day.
Yeah, but it was the most useless information until he got to the photographs of them, in the car, the body and paint building that they were in. Otherwise, all that information was pointless. I mean,
not well, pointless in what way? In the movies,
it didn't point to Joel Kinnaman being the one that dumped him there.
It didn't point to that, but it told him, oh, I'm going to hit these locations. I'm going after these people. All this cop has to do now is go after him.
Yeah.
Like, go after these spots, watch these spots, and like a sting operation, take this guy down.
Bring some SWAT. Bring somebody.
That's all they have to do, but they don't.
Who cares? Anyone. The freaking National Guard. Bring someone. But he doesn't. He just doesn't do anything. This cop. He is completely useless in this movie.
Yeah, it's very strange. This character is very, very strange.
There's no emotion coming out of his face either. It's like he's not even trying to act.
Yeah, he just kind of seems shocked. Like, oh, huh. And you know what's really funny now? A guy was tied up and put on this guy's doorstep. And then the next scene is them cops still handcuffed him, throwing him in the back seat. Now, he was kidnapped and thrown on this guy's doorstep. What are they getting him on?
Right. I guess because what's on the hard drive?
No, that's not evidence.
I don't know. They don't really have any reason.
That's a vigilante.
They just arrested him because he's in a gang, obviously.
Well, no, he's not. Obviously, he was free. They never went after him before. He's obviously clean enough where the cops can't figure out how to take him down.
I guess you're right. I mean, there is no rhyme or reason to why they took him in.
There's no reason.
He would get out. And
he would be
like,
instantly out.
Yeah, he would get out and he'd be like, okay, this motherfucker, he kidnapped my ass, threw me over the banister, beat the shit out of me. Let's go get him.
Yeah. Breaking and entering. Kidnapping. I've seen his face. I can identify him.
He saw his face, but before
Never
he can even
back.
do that, never comes back at all. Never. Joel Kinnaman just gets in the car and in his Mustang, and he starts perusing the streets. And let me tell you, I have never seen anything like this movie. On every single corner in this movie,
Yes.
there is crime happening. Okay, Mike. Again, why do you live in this neighborhood? Why?
Yeah. And he comes upon an assault and battery of 2 people. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go after these 2 people. And they steal these people's money. And then he goes and he runs one against the wall and guts him with a knife.
Yeah.
And then the other one jumps on his hood. And he gets his gun and shoots him on the hood. It's supposed to be a funny scene. And I guess it's kind of comical because it's so crazy.
I mean, is it though?
But it's the first time he's ever killed somebody. But now he's got the stomach for it because he throws up, and now he's like, now I can kill people.
Yeah, he threw up. He got
So
it
I'm
out of his
fully
system.
in.
So now he's ready. He's a badass. He just puked up his
Yeah. The
his,
next scene
courage.
is so weird. There is a man bodybuilding, and Joel Kinnaman throws what looks like a burrito over the wall, and it lands in front of him. And now I'm thinking it's a bomb, and he's going to go attack these people, and it's going to be a cool scene. It's going to be a movie now, and it's not. This guy just puts on his weights, goes over, picks it up like it's not a problem, walks upstairs to his boss, who, by the way, his boss is the same guy.
Tattoo head.
That just so happens that the main villain of Joel Kinnaman's life, the guy that he's trying to get revenge on, is also the head of the gang.
Of course he is.
He's the big honcho.
Big bad,
He
yeah.
has a girlfriend, and she's addicted to heroin, and he keeps injecting her with heroin.
Like, there's no
In every
point to
scene,
showing us this.
right?
Like, what? I mean, what is the point? I don't understand why. What does that have to do with the plot of this movie at all? This little like hooker that he's got hanging around and he's injecting her.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they can tell us that he's just a piece of shit. We already know that.
Yeah, he's a big drug dealer. Like, it's so weird. And this guy lives in, like you said, a giant crack den building.
Right.
And he lives in a huge loft like area that's just this giant open space that he's turned into a rave.
It's so weird.
It
I
is so
looked at you
odd.
and I'm like, okay, there are no less than 70 disco balls hanging from the freaking ceiling.
It's not even disco balls.
What
it's like
is it?
giant Christmas balls. Like those giant ones.
Yeah.
But they're
like
all
the
the
ones you
same
see in
color.
like Hobby Lobby or Michael's
Yeah.
or something. They're hanging from the ceiling.
They're hanging from the ceiling.
And they're like, there's a million of them. And he's got these TV screens all around the room, circling the room with
It's not even TV screens. He's got projectors
Projectors?
projecting skulls all over the
Like,
walls.
what the and then he's got this bed, and it's like, that tacky round, love-making bed
Yes.
that you see in like, those seedy hotels in like spins or whatever, and it's got the, the leopard print sheets and all that. And then he's got like a desk. There's a desk in there. And it's like, okay, all right, I've had enough of this.
It's like he's listening to music. We have to talk about the music. Just imagine like this just Casio keyboard sound effect in a little bit of a kind of like a score, but then someone going over it like this. And that's like the music, and there's a part of this movie where you have to listen to that for 20 minutes.
Oh, it's brutal.
It goes on and you think, now I've seen John Woo's other movies. I've seen Face Off, and everybody remembers there's a very big scene in Face Off where it's like this entire movie where he's got to protect his child during it's not his child, it's the villain's child. And he's got to protect him while they put headphones on him. And so you hear It's a Wonderful World playing as there's a gun battle.
Yeah.
Now, I thought this whole movie was going to be that, like some kind of weird artistic idea on action films, right? None of the music in this movie is good.
None of it.
It's you think they're going to do some
terrible.
Cool music to the gun battles, but none of it is like that.
Like, play some metal or something. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, what is this? It's like synthesized junk. I was like, I can't do this.
If I'm not mistaken, they have a famous rapper as playing the cop in this.
It's Kid Cudi.
Yeah, so
Cudi, whatever.
I don't even know if he's a rapper. I just know that he's in music. But so you already have music people in your movie, and your music in the movie isn't that good?
It's pretty bad, but I don't think he had anything to do with it.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out that that's odd. That's like hiring a famous punk band as your main characters and then not having any punk music.
Oh, I know. It's true.
Yeah, it's weird. And also, it's just odd. But anyways, it turns out that the burrito-looking thing that the guy brings him on the table while he's doing cocaine, he unravels it to show 2 fingers. We were never told whose fingers these are, where he got these fingers. We don't understand this at all.
We're just to assume that he went back to one of the bodies he squished or whatever.
It just so happened that the people...
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And
so when he sees these fingers, this actor that's playing the villain...
Tattoo Head.
...is hilarious. He does what I would say is a comical overreaction into a scream.
I'm like, okay.
He looks at it, gets cross-eyed, and goes... It's so fucking crazy.
Oh, man.
So the idea here is if he gives these 2 fingers to him, he'll think it's the rival gang, and they'll start a turf war.
Yeah.
Which the next shot is literally a turf war at an abandoned gas station. It's like a gutted gas station, and we have a turf war happening between there with some stupid reason, a couple cops in the middle. And that's when everybody's on the CB radios or whatever the hell it is going, it's a turf war. Oh my God, they're shooting people. Watch out over here. They just won't stop. It's so hilariously cheesy. But to make it worse, you just got people running by with machine guns, just riddling back and forth.
Now, again, here comes my question yet again. How are you living in this neighborhood with just people walking down the street shooting people?
At this point, I didn't even think about it anymore because at this point, I thought they were on a Universal lot.
I mean,
I just looks so bad.
It was so comical. I was like, every single corner has some kind of freaking crime.
Yeah. Someone's
getting mugged or shot at or beat down or something on every corner. I'm like, who the fuck lives here?
Yeah.
And there's no stores. All the storefronts are boarded up. Like, it looks like a freaking post-apocalyptic neighborhood.
Yeah. It's like Gotham City.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is
terrible.
why, I guess this is why he's oh, and by the way, Joel Kinnaman now is dressed like the Punisher.
Yes, he has that long coat.
He didn't put on a skull on his chest, but he does have a bulletproof vest on, and he's wearing a leather jacket.
Yes.
A long trench coat leather jacket.
Because he wants the audience to know that he is now in full Punisher mode.
He's in full Punisher mode. And he pulls up at the gang war that's happening here and is able to sit there and watch. Yeah. Nobody shoots at him.
Now,
they just let him watch them.
It's another situation where there are bullets flying all around from multiple machine guns. And I'm talking about in a circular pattern. And not one of them hits his windshield and gets him.
Nothing
not
hits
one.
anything. And he's able to drive into the middle of the gang warfare.
Yeah.
And randomly just take shots and hit everybody instantly.
I think it's amazing because none of their shots land, the gang members.
No.
But his do.
Perfectly.
And he could
got
be
an open
driving
window.
in full speed ahead with an open window and perfectly nail the guy that's on a rooftop.
Yes.
Perfectly.
It's like that stunt show at Universal where people are just randomly falling
Oh my
like
God.
off the ledges and the fire's going on.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. But the best character in this scene is there's one random kid live
He's
videotaping
like
it.
live streaming.
Live streaming it.
Who are you sending this to?
This is great too, because you think that he's live streaming it to his boss.
No.
It turns out they're in a group chat.
They're in a group chat.
The boss has got a little group chat, and they're live streaming. This kid doesn't have a gun. He's just standing there live streaming.
He's literally walking out into the freaking hail of gunfire with his phone out.
And it lets the hero of this movie, I guess, run into him and make him fly. I thought that was the funniest thing. And then he gets out of his car, and the gang warfare has ended. He's killed maybe 5 people, and it just ends. And he's able to stand in the street and grab this kid's phone and see that he's live streaming. And he live streams that he shoots that kid.
Yes, so he wants the boss to see that he's, shooting one of his pendejos. But the best thing about this is that this guy, Tattoo Head, he doesn't give a rat's ass about his goons that are getting killed. He doesn't care at all. Like, he freaks out over the 2 fingers for what?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't give a shit.
We're not told. There is literally no explanation for a lot of stuff. You said the best part. No, the best part is that Joel Kinnaman isn't on the live stream. They don't show his face. But he picks up the phone and live streams that he shoots the guy. And then when this happens, the main bad guy realizes Joel Kinnaman, and he remembers him.
Okay.
And I was like, how? You didn't even see his face.
There's, first of all, literally 900 people that this guy has killed, okay? Yeah. But the only time he ever, he saw him when he shot him in the throat. But how would you, first of all, it was that was a year ago, okay? How would you remember that, number one? And why would you put 2 and 2 together, this guy who's just a family man?
Yeah.
He's just and how do you even know he survived? Because he could have fucking died from those gunshot wounds and you inflicted them last year.
It's so true.
So how do you know?
And even funnier is earlier in this movie, he goes to a random store, and we don't know why he's there, but in the parking lot there happens to be like a ice cream truck, and it turns out that the main villain is giving ice cream out to kids.
Okay, this was a Nino Brown moment where, remember in New Jack City when the kids in the building that Nino Brown took over were just running into Nino, and he was giving them $2 each and just giving out money because he wanted to be the hero of, all the kids. Well, this is that moment. He's giving out money to children. This freaking Tattoo Head. He's a murderer. He's a gang leader. He's a murderer. And he's just giving out money to kids randomly. So Joel Kinnaman sees him and he takes out his knife like he's going to do something. And obviously there's children everywhere. So that doesn't happen. So they get in the car and they drive off.
Well, the girlfriend they bump into him, and the girlfriend throws an ice cream all over Joel Kinnaman. He just stands there and takes it.
Well, he had to at that point.
It seems weird.
There was
you think they would just follow him and take them out right there. Instead, he just sits there and pouts and then goes home and does more training.
More training.
Only reason I brought this scene up, though, is because he's standing right next to the guy. He doesn't recognize him there.
Right.
But he recognizes him over a live stream that he doesn't see his face.
Right. It's a miracle. I'm telling you. Technology is it's a miracle of science, because he can literally do something while not being on camera and still be on camera.
On camera. Can we also talk about how the main villain is wearing a Santa coat?
Well, it is Christmas. I'm just saying.
He never leaves his lair after the ice cream truck incident. He doesn't leave his lair. He sends goons out to get this guy. And there's another scene of him taking out random bad guys to keep showing up. Never cops. He's killing people in the street. No cops.
So does the cops not go there? Okay, there was a scene where 2 cops actually got shot during the gang war.
Yeah.
But other than that, we literally see no cops. Yeah. There's no cops anywhere in this movie except for Kid Cudi, who literally does nothing.
Yeah, he's not in this movie really until the end again. Now our hero is able to kill a shitload of people in cars who are now having another gang shootout at him. He keeps going from one set of bad guys to another. A random guy on a motorcycle shows up. And he's able to fight this guy on the motorcycle, and he finally loses his car because they riddle it so bad with bullets that it finally dies. And he just goes and takes this motorcycle guy's motorcycle after he kills that guy. And what's great is he's got that phone from the live stream, and on that phone, the villain he texts in his group chat, "Everybody come here. Get here now."
Oh my God.
And everybody's like, "I'll be there in 5. I'll be there in whatever." And Joel Kinnaman's like, I wish he would have texted, "I'll be there in 2."
I know, seriously. So he sees the group chat, right? And he sees that the main, bad guy, Tattoo Head, he's like, "Everyone come back to the lair." So, okay, fine. So he knows where everyone's going. I thought that he would be more prepared than this.
Yes, no.
Now, he goes into this freaking lair, but he has, like, a coat. He has a couple of guns, a knife.
Don't bury the lead, though. Don't bury the lead.
Oh, okay.
Because he jumps on a motorcycle. I would assume that he's never driven a motorcycle before.
Of course he has. He learned in his montage.
He drives it so fast that he catches up to the bad guys so fast that they're shutting their garage, and he's able to turn on the side of the motorcycle, fly the motorcycle into the guy's car, jump off, and shoot them from an angle.
Yeah, it was quite astounding. And then, like, the freaking gasoline's leaking out of the motorcycle.
Talk about which direction the gasoline is leaking.
Okay.
Because it's leaking perfectly what seems to be uphill into the cars.
Yeah.
It's not going down through where they just drove in.
No. It's going up.
It's going up.
Like it sprouted legs and sort of crawling.
It's perfectly leaking a perfect line under their car.
Yeah.
And we know on Mythbusters this is bullshit logic, but he's able to shotgun the motorcycle and blow up into a fireball that for some strange reason blows up another car into all the bad guys.
Yes, but it doesn't hit him. And they're in an enclosed place, and he literally gets nothing. That fireball would have engulfed that whole tiny space that they were in.
And he by the way, he didn't know that there was a nice little spot for him to hide when he did this.
No.
He could have been driving right into them and dying instantly.
It was just a miracle. He found a little spot and he hid behind it, and it was just perfect for him.
Yeah. And now what we get for the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes is that great scene in Daredevil where Daredevil fights up the stairs on that show.
Yeah.
But imagine if it was boring, where villains just run outdoors like in a video game and you just kill them.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So this guy gets shotgunned, one of the Los Locos or whatever. He opens the door, gets shotgunned, and his buddy's like, "Oh wow, you were just shotgunned. I'm gonna run out this door."
Yeah, they keep doing it.
Ran out like a bunch of like the Scooby-Doo gang going in and out of the doors.
I said holy hand grenade. Just keep picking it up. They just keep walking out and picking it up, even though it kills each one.
It's unbelievable. Like, there's literally a freaking assassin outside the door, and he just shotgunned your buddy in the chest, and you're just gonna run out there?
Yeah, and this place doesn't have any elevators.
Well,
Everybody
no, because
uses
it's like it's a fucking dump. It's like a dilapidated building, and this guy who's like the head of this gang, and they make millions of dollars, running drugs and shit. He lives in this shithole, but the other guy lived in a palace.
Yeah.
So explain that to me.
Well, he is a drug addict nutcase, so it kind of makes sense. And the room is pretty neat, but you're probably wondering to yourselves right now, where is the bad guy during all this? Well, he's having a slow dance. So for the next 15 minutes, we're hearing terrible music. Him and his heroin, he shot her up again with heroin, and then has a dance scene with her for 15 minutes while he's killing people going up the stairs. And in their room, they don't hear any of these gunshots.
No, because
or
they're
the explosion.
having a slow dance, which is very imperative and important to the plot.
Yes, apparently.
Yeah, we're supposed... I can't even tell you. I almost walked out of this fucking movie. And I do not walk out of movies. But watching this scene, I'm like, what are we supposed to be feeling during the scene? Because it literally went on for 15 minutes of him staring into her eyes and having a slow dance with her to music that you cannot slow dance to. It made no sense whatsoever. And I was like fuck this movie. Fuck this director. I'm out of here. I wanted to get up and go home. I was livid. I'm like, what am I watching? What is this shit? I was like, if they could possibly put more filler in this movie and make it more of a snooze fest, I would like to see it, because there's just no way they could top this. It was the biggest snooze fest that it was almost like they were making fun of us. It's like, you sat here and now we're going to punish you further.
Yeah.
That's the way I felt. I felt like I was being punished.
No.
Carry on. Sorry, I had my rant. I'm good.
Well, if that wasn't enough, now suddenly Kid Cudi shows up.
Oh.
He has figured it all out, and he goes to show up. Now I thought, well, I guess he's going to be like in on it, and he's also a bad guy, and he's going to be a part of it. No, instead, he just gets a random scene where he does John Wick shooting.
Yeah, he doesn't have any backup.
Up close, he doesn't bring backup. He does up close headshots like it's gun fu. And it's just so out of place, and you're like, oh, of course the cop can do this, although they haven't done anything in the city and it's falling apart, and he can shoot perfectly like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, here comes the big bad guy fight, right? Well, no. What happens is these two idiots pair up. They see each other. He's all pretty mussed up. He had to fight this one bad guy that he thought he killed earlier in the movie. He shows up and they have a fight. It's not that memorable. That guy gets shot a bunch of times and still keeps getting up. It's so bad. And then they see each other, and the cop and him go, yeah, I think that you're doing the right thing. Let's kill more people together. So they team up. But instead of going into a boss fight and having a really cool moment with them, no, his girlfriend just starts shooting them with a machine gun through a hallway with a perfect spotlight on them.
Yeah, so what happened? They were dancing, though.
Yeah,
they were done, and then they heard the music was still playing.
Even better, though, both our main characters are just riddled with bullets.
Riddled. And our guy had a bulletproof vest, but that didn't help.
Yeah, the cop has nothing.
The cop shows up to this building knowing that there are gang members and guns and bad guys in this building. He shows up with a freaking button-down shirt and some slacks, and he has no vest, no backup, no plan whatsoever. He shows up on his own.
Neither does our main character. And I forgot to point this out, and I wanted to, and I said I was going to earlier, and I said we got to get to it. So there's a thing called a one take, right? Where you do an entire panning of a camera. You set up the shot so things are happening when you're following it with a camera, and you don't have to do cuts. But a lot of these times when they try to do these one-ers, they're not real one-ers. Like I think 1914, or is that what it was? 1914 or 1941? What was that movie? 1914, right? Where they the camera follows the two guys in the war?
1917.
Oh, 1917.
Yeah,
sorry.
1917.
So in 1917, the movie was trying to do that, where you're following these characters with one takes. Well, it's not really one takes. It's kind of a cheat. They actually do cuts, but you have to find them. They have to do clever edits. Now, in that Daredevil movie, a lot of the time they do, what's that called? The Texas Switch is a thing where a director will use the real actor, and then when he goes behind a wall and then you see that actor come out again, they're switching out the stunt double, and then that stunt double will go behind like a chair, and then that actor will be behind the chair, so when he gets up, it's the actor again. Mm-hmm. It's a really well done way to make it look like the action is being done by your main actor. So if you're not going to do that, you're going to do these really smart edits where you can't tell, and you're going to trick the audience thinking that they're doing all this in one shot. This movie is so sloppy that when he's doing the walk up the stairs while he's fighting, he gets his back to the camera. So what they would have done was freeze there, then set up the next shot. So when his jacket comes out of the way, they're in the next shot, but it feels seamless. Instead, what happens here is the shot doesn't match up. So the edit is the jacket comes in the frame, and then all of a sudden the jacket's in a different spot. And it was like, holy shit. That's just like amateur editing. Like, it's just not even done the way it's supposed to be done. It's just so cheap. And that's this whole movie, right? But we're going back to where we were. Now, all these two cops, this cop and this our main character, have to do is stand behind the wall while this idiot unloads the clip that she's shooting at them. Mm-hmm. But they keep standing up and keep getting shot.
He's literally the worst cop ever. He's the worst cop
How
of
do you
all
not
time.
know this? Especially after they just had a scene of showing how badass they were while shooting. Like, they're perfectly shot. They have perfect shots, but neither one of these two can shoot. Now, she's just randomly shooting down. For some reason, the bullets should be going straight, but there's some reason they're hitting both sides of these pillars.
Yes.
Every shot they show her, she's never going side to side, like spraying wildly. She seems to be in one shot. Mm-hmm. Like, she's just fully, like, loading face first. Like, just full on steam ahead. Like, instead of spraying wildly. So why they're getting shot is beyond me. But they're so riddled with bullets now that one of them has to crawl up the side. And you're like, okay, I can't wait for them to take her out. Or maybe the bad guy's going to show up and protect her and it's a big trap or whatever. No, it's even worse than you can imagine. He gets on the side of her and has the gun to her head after her clip runs out. And he has a chance to kill her. And he looks at her and for some reason sympathizes with her.
Yeah, she gives him like this puppy dog look. Like her eyebrows are like, she has like that puppy dog, like sad eyes. Like, I'm just a victim too, don't kill me. So he doesn't fucking shoot her. And then you can only imagine what happens after that. This bitch. She pulls out another gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
I'm like, hello? Like, what the And so the cop who's shot in the stomach gets up and shoots her because she was just about to take him out, take out Joel Kinnaman.
No, he doesn't shoot her. Joel Kinnaman falls to the floor and shoots her 3 times, one in the head.
Oh yeah, that's right. 3 times he shoots her. Oh, that's right.
She shot him a bunch.
She shot him a bunch, and she shot the cop in the gut.
Yeah, he's dying.
Shouldn't even be able to stand or move.
Yes, he's riddled with bullets at this point, the cop, and so is Joel Kinnaman. And this is my favorite. They go into the next room. Joel Kinnaman just stands up, goes into the other room with the disco balls and whatever the hell you're calling them, and finally has a conversation with the bad guy.
Here's the thing. Tattoo Head walks out shirtless. He doesn't have... That's another thing. Like, I know all the goons are dead. He had goons. They're all dead. But, like, he's so casual in this scene. Like, he doesn't even look, like, surprised or bothered at all. He looks very relaxed in his shirtless scene.
He doesn't even care that his girlfriend just died.
Nope, doesn't care.
He just had a dance off with her. And now he doesn't care that she's even gone. And he shoots Joel Kinnaman again. And he falls to the floor. He's going to die, right? And now he goes up to finally kill him. And that's when, out of nowhere, the cop shows up in another door across from where they are. He was just next to Joel Kinnaman, and now he's all the way on the other side of the room.
Yeah, on the other side.
And he shoots him from behind, or he, like, shoots him, and then he falls to the floor. Both of them fall to the floor, allowing Joel Kinnaman... Now, remember, he's been shot at least 7 times.
Yep.
He is able to stand up, get on top of him, and start strangling him to death.
Yeah.
And as he's strangling him to death, he looks in one of the big Christmas balls and sees his son. And you think, oh, is he going to not kill him? And no, he does. And it makes no sense.
I don't understand. It was like, how many scenes in this movie do we need of him seeing visions of his son? It's like, okay, we fucking get it, you assholes.
We didn't even talk about the music box breaking and him listening to the music box and over and over and over.
He had this fucking music box that was in his kid's room, and it was like some kind of like sign or like some kind of like a reflection of his son.
I know, and everything is though.
And he kept playing it and over and over and over, the stupid fucking music box. And then we have to endure that through the whole movie. And then he sees his kid everywhere. And I mean, there's a scene in the movie where he sees his child in the face of another child, some random child at a store, and he kneels down and he hugs this child. Meanwhile, his mother, the kid's mother, is not even taken aback at all.
No, she freaks out. She grabs him up and runs in.
I mean, she didn't. I mean, I would have
Should've
kicked the
called
guy
the
in the
cops.
balls. I would have been like, "Get your fucking hands off my kid!" You know.
But then again, she just allowed a drug dealer probably to get him some ice cream.
That's true. He just he got money from
Because that's happening out there too.
Nino Brown out there.
Yeah.
But it's just unbelievable how they just keep shoveling it down your throat. I'm like, oh my god, I can't take anymore.
So I'm glad you said all that, because if that wasn't enough, these two, now the cop is able to come. Now, I'm just going to say that he killed the bad guy. No fight. He just strangled him to death. Early on in the movie, the tax guy that works for them, the guy that he kidnapped, the guy that's like their money man, he put up more of a fight than the main bad guy.
Yes, like that's how I was like, okay, we're dealing with the accountant, you know, the gang banging accountant.
Yeah.
And he had more, like, you know, he was like a beast. He had more fight in him than our tattoo head.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
He just goes out, just lets him choke him to death without fighting him.
That's it. He just gets choked out and he's dead.
Doesn't
Like,
punch him in the side, doesn't poke at an eye. He just lets him strangle him to death.
yeah, see, this is the thing about this movie. Like, you go through all of this shit and all of these freaking goons to get to the main bad guy, and you're not going to do any torture things. You're not going to make him feel what you felt. You're not going to make him feel your pain. You're not going to tell him what he did. You're not going to make sure he knows that, you know, you're there to take him out and, you know, take his life the way he destroyed your life and whatever. Nothing. There's no conversation.
Nothing.
There's nothing. It was just
no payoff.
done.
And to make it worse, he lays on his back under the Christmas balls to stare at them like an angel. And then Kid Cudi comes over and lays next to him, and he's going to die, and they both smile at each other.
Like they're having a moment. They haven't had.
He got this cop killed.
Yes, he did get the cop killed, but the cop actually got himself killed because he's
True.
dumb.
He's dumb.
He's the
Yeah.
worst
No,
cop
no,
in
no
the
doubt.
history of cops ever. You know, you show up to a freaking gunfight with no vest and no backup. You're a fucking moron. He showed up in khakis and loafers. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
And
But they both lay there, and then so we only zoom in on our main character as he looks up at the Christmas balls, and they turn it into the child's life. And the best part is,
born,
just like in Raising Arizona, we get the salad days. We get the flash forward. We actually see what it would have been like if the kid would have survived, and he's graduating college.
Yeah. Like, okay. No,
What the fuck?
I was done 25 minutes into this movie. I wanted to go home. But this, it had me enraged to the point, like, I literally just, I couldn't take anymore. I was enraged. And I'm just like, first of all, why? Why do we need all this shit? Like, you're seeing his life as it would have or could have been.
And it's only like 1 second because they go
What?
back to him being a kid again. It's really strange.
Yeah, they showed him being born.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, everyone in this movie just annoyed the piss out of me.
Yeah.
They were all awful. I couldn't take it.
Yeah. And then we have to get the kid's tombstone, where we find out that he built a train set around it, and it's running in a cemetery. I don't know how, without electricity, but...
Oh, they have batteries in those.
And then he left a letter for the wife, and she reads it, and we have to read it with her, and it's a terrible letter that virtually says, look, I understand you love me as good as you could, but then you couldn't anymore, and I don't blame you. It's not on you, it's on me. And you know what? I thought I could live with it, but I can't. I gotta do this.
Yep.
All right,
I had
thanks.
to get revenge. And so they zoom in on her face again. And she's crying again.
Tear dropping
which
again.
is literally this actress's whole job in this movie.
Yep. So bad.
I feel bad for people that are involved in this. This is a terrible movie. Terrible.
It's a mess. I cannot believe that this thing was released. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you think this movie was filmed way later? Because in the movie, it's taking place in 2022.
Well, it's supposed to be 2021, and then a year goes by.
Yeah,
and
we're
then
in 2022, the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. My point is, why would they have done that unless it was supposed to release in 2022? So I was wondering if this was on a shelf or if this had a lot of problems and they had to keep editing it.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I read some trivia, but it doesn't tell you nothing. It's just, crap.
If I had to guess, that Kid Cudi character probably wasn't even in the movie.
There's no reasoning for him to be
And then he was just edited in to add some scenes because he really doesn't make sense in the movie.
There's no reasoning for him to be in this movie. He is the most terrible cop of all time. And he's just it's pointless. He can't even act with his face, and that's the whole point of this movie. You have to act with your face because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even do that. And there are some motherfuckers on IMDb giving this a 10 out of 10. I can't handle it. I'm not even reading it. I can't do it.
That's wild.
I can't do it.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not doing my segment. I just can't. I can't handle it. I cannot handle this movie anymore.
I didn't say it in the opening again. I kind of remember this in the future. But on Talking Trash, we always ask the question, is this the worst movie ever made? And if it's not, what is? So my question to you is this the worst movie ever made?
No, it's not. But I can tell you, it's a piece of shit.
So on our list of movies that are the worst movies list that we've started, where is this one going to fall for you? Because, well, what would you give this out of 10?
I'm giving it a 4.
Wow, that's way higher than I thought you were going to go.
I'm giving it a 4 because it wasn't filmed poorly, but
it's questionable.
There's some bad shit in here. I mean, there's a lot of good action scenes that, like the fight scenes, I was like, wow, okay, these people are getting hurt. But otherwise, I give it to the stunt people. But I want to say it's a 3, but
yeah, I think I might be going 3 on this one. This one's bad.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 3.
It's like, it's so laughably bad. I was surprised. This movie is bonkers. Like, if this had dialogue, it would have been even worse.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3. You're right, because this movie brought out the rage in me. Like, I'm literally sitting there in the movie theater wishing that I was watching literally anything else.
Yeah.
Anything.
About 30 minutes in, you said, I want to leave. Or
yes.
40 minutes in, you were like, I'm done. I want to leave.
Can we get the fuck out of here? Like, we do not walk out of movies.
I never walk out of
movies. But I will tell you that I was in pain. And I didn't have any more popcorn. So I was like, God damn it. I didn't have anything to snack on. I had nothing to drink. I'm sitting there just like, I can't handle this anymore. I can't. I wanted out of this. It was a freaking disaster. I hated it.
So is this in the top 4 on our list right now? Like,
well, Mortal Kombat Annihilation still wins. It's the trashiest movie that I've seen. But the second, what was the second worst? I forget.
Yeah, so for you right now, it's Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Mask of the Red Death, and Invasion USA. which this isn't even going to come out. Invasion USA is going to come out next week.
Yeah, but
because we moved this up because we were so shocked about this one.
Okay, well, I honestly would, I can't. It's definitely. I'm gonna say it's better than Invasion USA. Oh.
Is it better than Bucket of Blood 95?
No. No, it's not. At least we could laugh at that one.
Okay, so this is our number 4. Good lord, back to back with the action movies. I mean, really hitting the bottom of the barrel.
I gave Invasion USA a 3 also, but I'm gonna say that this one is. Oh God! I mean, it's better than that, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
What?
It's better than Invasion USA. Yeah, this is number 4.
Yeah, this is number 4.
Number 4.
I think so.
This movie was pure trash, man. I don't even want to talk about this movie anymore. It pissed me off. It just pissed me off so bad, and I never wanted to leave the theater this bad.
Yeah.
I don't think... except for when I watched Babylon. I wanted to leave when I watched Babylon.
Oh, Babylon?
But
yeah, I can understand.
I think that I wanted to leave the theater worse in this one.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Oh, this one, I was more shocked. And at least in Babylon, you had some stuff that you actually liked. There's definitely things in Babylon that are good. Yeah. This movie, on the other hand... everything about this movie is questionable.
It is
questionable. This is, like I said, if this had dialogue, holy shit, what would have been?
It would have been 5 times worse.
It would have been like Face Off or something, where it was just even more corny.
We would have given this a 1.
I don't know if I would have hit that, but
there's dialogue. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've said it multiple times before that we should have done Broken Arrow on here once, but this one, yeah, this takes a cake. This was a very big surprise. I actually thought when I saw the previews that it kind of looked like it was gonna be fun, and I also thought they were gonna play Christmas music during some of these fight scenes, and they were gonna like score the Christmas music to the fights. None of it.
No, we had to listen to a fucking music box the whole entire time.
Yeah, it's almost like someone removed all the music out of it.
And whatever you call that shit that he was listening to when he was dancing with his girl, I had no idea what that shit was.
It sounded like sample music. It was just weird. All right, though.
Don't see this. Don't just even if it comes on streaming, just skip over it. Watch anything else. Watch literally anything else. Anything you could just watch Ed Wood. It'll be better than this.
I'm just saying, go watch,
any Ed Wood movies.
There seems like there's so much better action. It's, John Woo's very lucky that he ever got that idea that he was this great action director, because I do not see it. You wanted this movie to be simple. This movie could have been so simple. All you had to do in this movie was have the movie start with this child's death. Mm-hmm. Him run out, and the whole movie, him trying to get revenge.
Right.
This movie should have been more like Falling Down or something like where he's just lost his mind and he's going to go and get revenge on everybody in the city who's doing bad things.
Yeah, but instead they make them live like the next street over in Gangland, USA, which is so weird for this family. I'm just the worst use of like flashbacks, the worst everything. This movie sucked. I can bite my ass. I'm over this movie.
All right, so we're getting out of here. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
The idea, though, for you, which I think is tough, you don't speak in the whole film.
It's a hardcore, hard-boiled, intense action movie, but the kicker on it is that there is not a single line of dialogue in the whole film.
But this is very interesting because I met your beautiful fiance backstage, and you said, I'm going to go method acting with this role.
I've never really done like a method acting process like that. I was like touched on it a little bit, and then when I got the script, I was like, this is the one. I'm gonna go full method on this one. So I talked to Kelly, and I was like, listen, this is gonna be a tough one for our relationship. I'm not going to talk for the whole shoot. Wow. And not talk with you either. So we're not going to have any communication.
Well, I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, she was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're going to go off and shoot a movie for 2 months and we're not going to say goodnight to each other? I was like, nope, I am an artist.
That's right.